Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a comparison review of two of the most popular shoes and stability shoes on the market, the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 24 and the ASICS Gel-Kayano 31. Now, as I said, I'm comparing these because they have continued to be extremely popular shoes, not just for running, but also for walking as well. They've been around for a very long time. A lot of work has been put into these two models. So if you're interested in a stability shoe, and these are the kind of top two things that often pop up, the whole purpose of this review is to help you figure out which one might work better for you. Because while there are some similarities, and more so than definitely in the past, especially with some updates to the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 24, there are some significant differences that really make two different shoes. And so, as I said, hopefully it helps you figure out which one might be a better option for you in figuring out a shoe that works for you. So as always, we'll start off with my men's size 10 specs. I took these measurements myself. So the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 24 in my size 10 is coming in at 10.6 ounces or about 300 grams. The ASICS Gel-Kayano 31 is coming in at 11.2 ounces or about 318 grams. So a fairly significant weight difference, not as big as some previous versions as the Adrenaline 24 has gotten a little bit heavier, but still a significant difference with the Adrenaline weighing a little bit lighter. Now, in terms of stack height, they actually are fairly similar now. The Adrenaline got a little taller with a 39 millimeter heel, 27 millimeter forefoot for still a 12 millimeter drop. The ASICS Gel-Kayano 31 still has the 40 millimeter heel, 30 millimeter forefoot for a 10 millimeter drop, although the changes in the heel bevel for the Brooks Adrenaline, which it finally has a real one, actually makes the drop feel fairly similar in these two models. Ride-wise, they are different. The Gel-Kayano, again, nothing against ASICS. There's still a little bit of a clunky heel. Yes, there is a heel bevel. It's just fairly small, and there's a big posterior flare. So you still get a little bit of early initial contact with running, whereas the Brooks Adrenaline actually has reduced and increased the posterior heel bevel and actually made it probably the smoothest heel of any Adrenaline I've ever had. And so it transitions a little bit smoother in the heel. So if you really want that smooth heel transition, the Adrenaline's going to be a little better option. If you're okay with just a little extra material back here, the Kayano is going to be a better option for you. Some people actually like a little bit extra material here. I don't, just because it makes things feel a little bit clunky, but some people don't mind that. When you transition into the rest of the shoe, a lot of this stuff gets different. So the Brooks Adrenaline is using their new DNA Loft foam, which, to be honest with you, has not really felt that soft to me. In the Glycerin series, it does feel soft. In this one, I don't know what it is. It just feels a little bit firmer throughout. So of the two of these two, the Kayano is still the more cushioned one. The Flight Foam Blast Plus over here, plus the 4D guidance material here, which is supposed to be the softer, more resilient foam. We'll talk about stability in a second. This just feels like the softer foam. It's more comfortable over longer efforts, long runs, and definitely for longer standing. Where the Brooks Adrenaline, yes, it is well cushioned, but of the two of these, it is a little bit firmer, a little bit snappier. They're not light shoes. They're not meant for anything fast. But if you want to pick up the pace a little bit, the Adrenaline's going to be a better option. The Kayano's just not a great shoe for that. It's really good for longer walking, longer standing, longer running. The Adrenaline's got just a teeny bit of that, like, hey, you can pick it up a little bit, but it's also on the heavier side and going to really work well for daily training, just slightly in different directions. Where, yes, this could still be a fine walking shoe. Kayano definitely wins on that, but this is also the slightly lighter one, so it runs just a little bit lighter and a little bit better in that regard. So slightly firmer, slightly softer. The forefoot is actually quite similar. They're both fairly stiff. The Kayano is just a teeny bit stiffer with a little bit larger rocker. The Adrenaline's still got a good forefoot rocker. It just has a teeny bit more flexibility and transitions a little bit more compared to the more rocker over here. So if you have toe mobility issues like a hallux rigidus or any kind of issues needing motion at the big toe, the Kayano is going to be a little better option. The Adrenaline still will work for you, but the Kayano is going to be the better one just because it has more forefoot cushioning and a little bit larger rocker. So again, both are significant stability shoes, but how they do stability is very different. If you want a really centered ride where your foot feels guided and doesn't really feel pushed too much in one direction, the Kayano is going to be the better option. It's got really nice sidewalls. It's got a really well-balanced, really wide last or shape. And then what's really interesting is while I do get some medial pressure from the sidewalls because I'm falling medially or on the inside, the 4D guidance system actually is a softer, more bouncy foam. So in running, you collapse in and then you bounce out. So it gives a really interesting sensation that doesn't like shove it into your face like some Post shoes do. However, there's nothing wrong with the Post, and the Adrenaline really feels like a posted shoe. It doesn't feel like a guidance centered shoe. The Post here is very significant. It really, you feel pressure along the medial part of your foot from the heel all the way into the midfoot, and it feels like there is something there. So people that like a Post, there's not as many posted shoes anymore and really want to be pushed laterally because there's not a lot of lateral guidance here. There's not a lot of lateral stuff here. Yes, a teeny bit in the heel, but for the most part, you're getting pushed out. So if you want that, the Adrenaline's going to work better for you. But if you want to feel a little bit more centered, the Kayano is going to feel a little bit better. That's also why I like the Adrenaline a little bit better for running. I like the Kayano for longer standing. Just kind of keeps me in the middle, a wider shape, a little bit softer. But for running, I do appreciate the Adrenaline a little bit more because I sometimes want that Post-like feeling. Again, if I'm collapsing a little bit more, I might want this one. So I would say the Adrenaline actually feels like a slightly higher stability shoe. The Kayano feels like a little bit more significant guidance shoe, if that makes sense. So more centered, more biased in one way, might work differently for each person. The uppers are the last thing they're going to be really different. So Brooks, in my opinion, has been fitting just a teeny bit short for a while, and this one has definitely gotten much wider. Now, while it is much wider, especially in the forefoot, the volume is really low. The upper sits really low against the foot. So if you don't have a lot of volume to your foot, you don't need a lot of height, you don't have a high instep, the Adrenaline's going to work better. But if you have a wider and a higher volume foot, the Kayano is going to be the shoe that really is going to win for you because yes, it's normal to slightly wide, but the upper is more stretchy and there's more volume height wise. So the upper is going to stretch more to the overall shape of your foot, whereas the Adrenaline is going to be a little bit wider in the forefoot. Both of them have still heel counters, so if you're sensitive to heel counters, neither one of these may be the best, although they do have plenty of padding. Kayano has a little bit more padding, but a little bit wider over here, sits lower against the foot, little bit slightly wide, not as wide as the Adrenaline, but a lot more volume and going to stretch a little bit more to people that actually have overall kind of larger feet. Kayano is going to do better. Both of them are excellent shoes. Durability has been really good. I've got about 50 miles on my Kayano. I have 45 miles on the Adrenaline. Both have been doing well and holding up well and staying really consistent over the miles. I will say durability has just been a little bit better on the outsole and the Adrenaline. I'm getting a little bit of odd wear on the exposed midsole parts of the Kayano, but it's still fine. I've gotten lots of Kayanos up to 100 miles. I'll do the same with both these. But durability seems to just be a teeny bit better over the Adrenaline, but for the most part, fairly similar and still fairly excellent shoes. So again, different shoes for different people, different stability needs. I want to know, do you agree with, if you've tried both these shoes, do you agree with what I'm talking about? Do you agree with my synopsis? Or if you disagree, please put your comments below and let others who are coming to this video figure out what's going to help them, what's going to work best for them with additional comments. Not everybody's the same. I try to do the best analysis, but my feet are going to be different than others. So if you've got something to say, please say it below and help others out who are looking for this. As always, the last part of this, hope this helps because the whole purpose of this is to help you figure out what shoe is going to work best for you.